It's nearly midnight where I am in Maryland, so I'll be talking a little soft. I'm kind of not sleepy right now, and so I figured I'd get some filming done for some of my videos. I just thought that the family history stories of my family are super interesting, and they'd be really fun to share. Knowing your heritage really, truly helps you know yourself. So, I'm going to read one of my favorite guys. I think we'll start with one of my favorite guys. His name is Wetzel Orson Whitaker, or was, and I think he's like some kind of great-great-uncle in relation to me. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. We have this massive book on our Whitaker family side of the tree, but it's in no means complete, you know? You never know who else is in your family, and it's kind of a good idea to do some research about it. Links in the description to familysearch.org and ancestry.com, but it's got millions of documents, and there are many people who do service through indexing and such, and I highly recommend it. It's really fun. And again, it's a really rewarding experience to learn about your ancestors, because knowing where they came from and knowing how they raised their families helps you understand how your families came to be made the way they were. Because traditions go down, and it's nice to know why they started, where they started. With that being said, sorry, I probably should have had this open before I started the filming, but it's kind of good practice for me to keep talking and to learn to be comfortable in front of the camera. You know what? I think there's an index in here. I will be very happy and upset at the same time yep. Well, isn't that just dandy? The cool thing is this was created in the 80s, and all of this was typewritten when it was reproduced, I believe. I'll probably have to ask my mother about that. She knows more about this than I do. Wetzel Orson Whitaker wrote an autobiography, and it's kind of lengthy, so I may have to break this up into multiple videos. Personally, I don't care if it's all one video, but people aren't really inclined to click on a 30-minute video versus a 5-minute video. And I'm not the kind of person who wants to clickbait anyone, but again, it's not any use to anybody if they're not willing to click on it. So this may be like a 3-part series, I don't know. But we're gonna start with his autobiography, and then I can read more about his family in future videos. And then we'll do more from this book. A little bit about Wetzel is that if you look him up on Wikipedia, I'll probably put a link in the description as well. He worked at Disney as an animator, so look for his name in the credits of Cinderella, the original ones, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland. Those ones I'm sure about. You can kind of see the style mixed in with all of them. You can see his style shining through. In the credits, he's known as Judge Whitaker, not Wetzel Orson. One quick thing, that's a pretty funny fun fact. He and another animator friend designed the stepsisters from Cinderella off of each other's faces. So they drew men's faces to create the ugly stepsisters.
There's to be a ball.
A ball?
In honor of His Highness, the Prince.
Oh, the Prince!
And by royal command, every eligible maiden is to attend.
Why, that's us! And I'm so eligible. Why, that means I can go too. Huh. Her dancing with the Prince!
I'd be honored, Your Highness. Would you mind holding my broom?
Here we go. This is the autobiography of Wetzel Orson Whitaker. I was born the third son and fourth child of Orson, Adalbert, and Clara Fotheringham Whitaker in the old Clotworthy home in Heber, Wasatch County, Utah. The night I was born, my father was scheduled to play trumpet in a dance band. He loved to say, facetiously of course, that I owed him $5, which was the amount he had to relinquish to be at Mother's side when I first saw the light on day on September 30th, 1908. Shortly before my 5th birthday, Papa became supervisor of music in Box Elder County schools, and we moved to Brigham City, where the family spent the next 5 years. In Brigham City, I soon learned that eggs were a pretty good medium of exchange in Brother Forrest's grocery store, which was located around the corner from our home. If Mama was short of cash and needed a spool of thread or a can of baking powder, she would send me to the store with a little pail of fresh eggs, instructing me to pick up the needed items. My trip to the store was usually preceded by a telephone call from Mama to find out how many eggs would be required, and then she would include an extra egg to buy me some jawbreakers or an all-day sucker or two. The egg thing worked so well that whenever I yearned for candy, I would help myself to an egg from Mother's pantry, and Brother Forrest, thinking I had come by it honestly, would honor my purchase. One day I hit bonanza. I noticed our old Rhode Island red setting hen clucked her way to her nest after having left it for a minute or two to stretch her legs. She fluffed herself down on a veritable fortune in eggs. Boy, what that would buy at Brother Forrest's store. I risked the fierce anger of the hen and received a few pecks on the hand to retrieve one of her warm eggs, which I promptly exchanged at Brother Forrest's store for the usual candy. This procedure went on for several days when suddenly the roof fell in. One morning, Mama received an agitated telephone call from Brother Forrest, who said, "Sister Whitaker, I have been receiving some angry calls from my customers complaining that your eggs your little boy has been bringing me to have baby chicks in them." Needless to say, Mama got the picture immediately, and after making reassuring apologies and a promise of restitution to Brother Forrest, she went out looking for me. Thus ended my trafficking in the contraband egg business. Let me check the time. So I'll probably do a little chunk of the autobiography per video and tell maybe one or two stories from each in the autobiography itself. I think I'll read one more and then we'll leave it at that. The summer of 1917, Papa bought his boys a beautiful, sturdy, flexible flyer coaster wagon, equipped with the ball bearings and the wheels which made it roll very easily. It was indeed the Cadillac of coaster wagons. We boys soon learned that it was a very important secondary purpose, which was to lug the harvested vegetables back from the farm. We always suspected that this was its primary purpose, and when we accused Papa of this, he would just laugh. It was downhill all the way from our house to 2nd East and Forest Street, to the farm. There were paved sidewalks most of the way, and in those days there were no curbs or gutters to contend with. I can remember Papa getting on the wagon first to steer, and us boys getting on behind and hanging on for dear life. With a whoop and holler, we were off with Papa singing an opera selection at the top of his lungs. I don't know about my older brothers, but I was mortified with embarrassment, even at the tender age of 8 or 9 years, to think that my father, who held a very important position as supervisor of music in the Box Elder County schools, would demean himself by acting so childish and undignified as to ride a coaster wagon, with kids hanging all over him, and to call attention to the fact by singing merrily as the coaster wagon raced down the hill. Papa was truly a lovable, happy extrovert. During the winter months of this period, Papa taught us interesting little songs preparatory to touring the state of Utah on a concert tour. Our sister, Jessie, who is an accomplished musician with a lovely soprano voice and who played the piano extremely well, was our accompaniment. Papa had some interesting handbills and posters printed for advertising purposes. Music in the home, music in the schools, music everywhere. Whitaker family concert tonight at the Town Opera House at 8. The revenue from the concerts brought us in enough money to pay our expenses to Kanosh, Papa's hometown and our terminal point. We would usually have given 4 to 5 concerts en route in that many days. Our conveyance was a Model T Ford which, as most cars of that day, were none too reliable. Usually at the bottom of Scipio Hill we would have to get out and push, and then block the wheels with a rock before pushing on another few yards. It was a push and a block until we made it to the top of the hill. The roads were dirt and usually badly rutted, and oh, the dust that was kicked up. It took quite a cleanup job to make us presentable for each concert performance. And I'm going to end it there, because the next one is about his lovely nickname, Judge, as I mentioned before. If you would like to watch a documentary on Wetzel, it's called A Real Legacy. I don't know if you can stream it online, but I can look for it. I'll probably put a link at least to a DVD purchase in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy learning about my family with me, and that maybe you will learn, you might discover your own family, or that you'll get interested into this kind of thing yourself.